Alright, so, welcome to another segment of What Would They Listen To, where I talk about characters and what kind of music would they listen to on their time off. So, as you can see, I'm going to be talking about, what would the characters from Hellsing be listening to on their iPhones, or, have something on their MP3 players, or just something to listen to when they're not busy killing monsters. So, let's kick things off with, of course, Alucard. What would be on Alucard's playlist? I would imagine Alucard having a very classical taste, like Mozart and Bach, as well as Beethoven, and several other operatic and kind of symphony kind of sounds to him. A lot of classical stuff. Just listen. I could see him sitting in his little room in the Hellsing organization, just sitting there listening to Moonlight Sonata, and just sitting there, just taking in the music as he's sitting there. But among other things, I do imagine that Alucard would have adapted and grown a bit more into music, and singing-wise, I kind of imagine Alucard as a fan of That Handsome Devil. If you ever heard of them, they're really good. You could totally see Alucard listening to That Handsome Devil. You can see also some Voltaire. I could see him just having a little fun. Like he would find Voltaire's music amusing. The musician Voltaire, who did When You're Evil. I think he would also listen to Voltaire as well. The guy who did the symphonies. But yeah, I think he would get a kick out of listening to them on his, he would just be whistling When You're Evil when he's gunning down monsters or people. I could also see him maybe... Well, I don't really see him as a big heavy metal fan. I do not see him as a big metal fan. I could see him, listening to that and be like, ugh, too depressing. I think he would, listen to it and be like, it's not for me. But maybe, I think the one metal band he would tolerate, I think Alucard would probably listen to, is Tool. Yeah, Alucard strikes me as, a Tool fan. He would probably be listening to a lot of Tool. It just has, a lot of just a slow kind of groove and something like a slow burn kind of music. I could see Alucard kind of enjoying some Tool. Maybe some Korn, early Korn. Tool and Korn are probably the only two metal bands you'd probably see on Alucard's playlists. Now let's move on to Integra. Now, what would Integra Hellsing listen to on her days off? I'd like to think that she's a closet Beatles fan. I'd really like to think that she's a closet Beatles fan, honestly. Not because she's... Also, I think she would I would imagine her listening to the Rolling Stones on her day off, and maybe even the House Martins, as well as... I'm trying to think of a few others because here's the thing, a lot of these characters are kind of hard to listen to. It's really hard to peg what kind of music they would listen to. But I kind of imagine, when she's in a good mood, Integra would put in some Yellow Submarine, start playing Yellow Submarine, or something a little more of the darker Beatles, like when John Lennon had a little more control over the Beatles than he did in the past. But I would say also some early Rolling Stones as well. Also some very early Rolling Stones would probably be in that list as well. So what would... there's Integra. Moving on to Seras. What would Seras listen to? Seras, I imagine her as being a fan of the British pop singer Fox. I kind of imagine her being a fan of Fox. I wouldn't say that she wouldn't be all into pop. I wouldn't say that there'd probably be some pop songs in Seras's music, but it wouldn't probably be all pop. You know what I'm saying? I could see her listening to Lost Prophets. I could see her listening to Green Day. Yeah, I could see Seras as a Green Day fan. And what else? What else would she be listening to? Probably some Christina Aguilera and some Avril Lavigne. Maybe even some Gaga would be in there too. And Evanescence, I think there would be some Evanescence in there. More like they're more popular songs, though. Not like the... I think it... Honestly, just side note, I like a lot of Evanescence's albums, but I think the one that's kind of like the underrated hit... I know everyone talks about Fallen, and Fallen is a really good album, but I think the underrated hit for Evanescence is definitely In the Shadows. That album is freaking sick. I love that album. And I think I like it a bit more than Fallen, maybe because it has like the more gothic-y kind of sound to it. I don't know. Fallen is a good album, really good too, but I feel like In the Shadows had a lot of great hits as well. I'm kind of torn between those two, but if you were to ask me like what are my favorite albums, I would say between Evanescence, I would say maybe In the Shadows a bit more, because it has a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I said, gothic-y kind of tone. Not to say Fallen didn't, but I'm getting off topic. Anyway, so those would be a few things on Seras' music. I could also, like, getting to Walter. Let's go to Walter now. Walter would probably listening to some symphonies as well, but I could also see him as, like, maybe... I could see him popping in a tape of the Beach Boys on his day off, because he just seems that kind of aloof, and listening to the Beach Boys would be fun. Maybe even some Elvis Presley. He was like, even though after he left the war, he was still young enough to get into the. He was still a young man, so I could see him like listening to some, classic '50s kind of music, but also some symphonies as well. So yeah, some early '50s rock like Beach Boys and some doo-wop and stuff like that. That would probably be in a lot of maybe some Bob Dylan. Oh yeah, now that I think about it, yeah. Walter would definitely be a Bob Dylan fan, and possibly I think like maybe Alucard. I think Alucard would probably have he'd probably have Season of the Witch on there, but that'd probably be it for Bob Dylan songs. Yeah, that'd literally be it. So what about the other characters from Hellsing? What other characters like I don't really know what would exactly be on Alexander Anderson's one. I can't really see him listening to a lot of music as well. Like I would imagine, probably some hymns or stuff like that. Gregorian, actually, now that I think about Gregorian, if you've ever heard of them, they're like a church group who does covers of all these other songs, and it's really like these choir covers of all these songs, and it's really awesome. So maybe I could see Alec Anderson listening to Gregorian and being like, yeah, I can dig it. The major would be sitting in his room, in a private room, his bedroom, sitting by the fire, listening to Ride of the Valkyries while reading the first edition of Mein Kampf with a little spot of wine. That's probably the only he would be listening to a lot of Nazi music and Nazi composed music. Ride of the Valkyries wasn't, but it was seen a lot with the Nazi party, so I could see him listening to Ride of the Valkyries on repeat on his little record while he's thinking of Nazi things to do. Can't really think of anyone else. Well, for the short time they were there, Enrico Maxwell would probably be a fan of speed metal, and also some stuff like Manson, Korn, Rob Zombie. Some black metal would be in there. Some speed metal, a lot of metal, and a lot of metal would be in Enrico's playlist. Whereas not Enrico Maxwell. Not Enrico Maxwell. I meant to say Luke. What's his name? Juan Valentine. Why the fuck did I say Enrico Maxwell? Maybe because I was on a stinge with Iscariot earlier. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to say Enrico Maxwell. I meant to say. I can't even think of what Maxwell would be listening to. I meant to say Juan Valentine. I don't have no clue how I got those two mixed up. It's like, maybe because it's 1 a.m. as of this recording. Maybe that's the reason. Yeah. But yeah, take what I said about accidentally saying that name and put it with Juan Valentine. There's his playlist. While his brother Luke Valentine would be probably listening to something a little more classier. Like, I could see him listening to jazz and stuff. Alucard would probably... Also, I think Walter would probably be a jazz fan as well. Some jazz and blues as well. But Luke Valentine would definitely be a fan of, like, looks like he's a guy who listens to swing and, you know, band... And some big band... some kind of music like that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I could go on, but it's really kind of difficult. What I didn't realize when I did this, when I first started out with this video, I was like, wow, I have no clue what these characters could probably listen to. So, here we are. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. So, you guys tell me, what do you guys think would the characters from Hellsing have on their music playlists? Just comment below and let me know. And once again, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.